Hey, and welcome to part 2 of this tutorial. It's stretched out so long that here I am breaking it into different parts. This is part 2, and hopefully you'll be able to jump on from where I left off. We are trying to show exactly how you blend in different colors into faces, and so that you can create your own crazy colors so that you can put those into whatever faces, since a lot of people do have trouble and ask a lot, what color should I use for the face, and what is that person using to create the face tone? Well, it's a blending of different colors, but in this video it'll be able to show you exactly what colors, and you can figure out your own colors to use using this tutorial, and it should help you out a lot more. So let's jump right into where we left off the last time. Okay, let's move down to her cheeks. In her cheeks, I need more blush in her cheeks at this point. Blush areas is usually when girls wear makeup, stuff like that. Whatever the picture requires, you put in. So in this part, we need blush. So I'm going to use this one is from Prismacolor. It's blush pink. Or you can use normal pink if you want. It'll do the same effect. But I'm just going to coat that roughly. Not going to go perfect with it. I'm just going to go over the shading areas of her face where it would go darker, like so. Right now it starts off looking a bit ugly because I'm adding this tone in, and it'll start to look better as I fill in the gaps. Okay, do the same thing for the other side. Not trying to be perfect at it. Alright, now I'm going to return to Peach. See how when I get close to the blush area, the peach blends in with it? So it just makes it easier to match those tones. Do the same thing to the other side. And remember, I'm just doing this widespread to do the tutorial a little faster. But when you do it yourself, you want to break that down and not do it as fast. You want to do it in small sections of the face. That way you're making sure all the different textures are right, and the positionings are right, and you don't want one skin tone to be darker if it's not supposed to be. I'm going to add a little of that blush in her forehead as well, just to help it. See, now add it to help it stand out a little more. Okay, I think I add a little too much in certain spots. Let's go over with the white blender. Now I didn't do the eye section because she's wearing makeup, so I'll start inside of that last. So So that way, and those little grooves, I can use the right colors in the makeup. If I was to go over it with the skin tone first, it'll be a lot harder to put in the makeup, especially if the makeup consists of blues or any other color that might mess up or smear into the other colors that I'm blending. So I want to do that separate than the other colors, so that way it's not affected. Okay, let's go back to beige. Almost lost it. And I'm basically going to go still over those same tones with the beige. Remember, when I did the peach, I didn't go inside of the beige. That's because peach and beige are like almost the same tones. Beige, sorry, I was saying peach and beige, but peach and pink, the blush pink is actually the same color as the peach color, but it's like two different tones of pink. One is a lot lighter and closer to flesh color, and the other one's more stronger, which is the blush one, and it doesn't need the peach on top of it or under it because of how strong it is. But I will bring it back to a decent skin tone by using the next layer that I've used up on the forehead, which is the beige, on top of that. So the beige will collect the color and the peach color at the same time. See? Smoothing it in real nice. There we go. And now do the same thing around certain other areas. I'm going to leave that peach there to try and help it stand out a little more. There we go. Now when you go to the nose, you got to remember that it has certain curves to it, and the shading in it is to help show those curves. So you got to be a little careful when you do that. I'll start adding the peach color into that section just to show you what I mean. Okay, so while I'm here, I need it to stand out. So I have my beige right there. And now I'm going to find a color that just helps it a little more. I just had it in my hand, wherever it is. Okay, found it. Now I'm going to take this color here. This one is hard to pronounce. It's Goldenrod. And I'm just going to go over the shading areas. With that little curve, it adds depth, so it may not be too far off of the other colors, but it'll just help everything else stand out a little more. Just gotta be careful how I add it. So that I'm not overpowering it at all. I have to add my beige, the parts that are blank from it. There you go. Now you can also use, this is beige, the other one was the Goldenrod. If I wanted to match them up and mix them in so that it looks like one solid color just swooping across, I'll just go over that Goldenrod with the beige. It'll maintain its darkness, but I'm just brightening it up a small amount so that the curves can show a little more. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing and use Goldenrod around certain areas of the lips. Under the nose. spots I missed. Okay, so you don't have to do it the exact way I'm doing it, and any mistakes you make, you can just go over it with, I use this one because it, you know, lightens it up, but I'm just going over it gently, and that's just going to match up the tones a little more and make them more blended. Like so. Now I have to start filling in that face because it's kind of starting to look weird with the face not colored in. So let's start with here, putting in my light peach. There we go. Now, in my reference, it looks a little weird around that eye area. It looks like a little tone of blue, so what I'm gonna have to do is get my blue out just a little bit. I can't go too hard on it. I'm just gonna put in dabs of the blue because, like I said before, as we mix it with the other colors, it'll smear it around and help it out. So you don't want to go too strong with it. Just add enough of it. Get under her eye. Add in the beige. I think I want to add a little more blush to show a little more line work. On those areas. My beige in. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going closer and closer towards that eye. I wish I would have sharpened the pencil when I did it now, but it's getting there, and you know, that's the most important part. Now, I'm going to go over the eyebrow area in that same peach. There's a specific reason why I'm doing that is because if you wait too long and just do whatever color the eyebrow is, it doesn't have a bottom. The bottom will end up white and it won't match up the rest of the photo. It'll be like this with strands of black going through it, and people will be able to see that later on and it might not look right. So what I'm gonna do is go over it with the peach, and then on top of the peach add in gently the colors that's supposed to be there. In this case, it looks like the color that's supposed to be there is a hazy color. So I'm just going to sharpen my pencil real quick, get a nice blade to that, and see if I can add that little hazy color. Now the blue you see in the background is just placement. When I actually do the sketch, when I'm filling in the color like now, I'm just going to use that as a guideline. That is not the exact way it's going to be. I just wanted to make sure I knew where I needed to be. So if I'm measuring out the face, this needs to be at a certain height, the eye needs to be at a certain place. So I put that in so I know where the eyebrow is going to be, where the eye is going to start, the eyelashes and everything else. So it's just a cool way of doing it early so you don't make that mistake. And going in. go. I want more peach in here so I can start making the face look more like what it's supposed to be. The more you leave it left out. Sometimes I will leave out like there's supposed to be shines in certain areas. For this size, I'm just going to leave that area blank and then put another color in there so that it'll leave the shine but it'll be colored. Because if I was to try and use my blenders, the white ones, on the picture this size, it won't carry over. It might carry a little bit, but I use wax blenders and stuff like that, so it won't work perfectly. So I can use paint to go over it, and that'll come it'll come out just fine. But for something this small, I'll just stick to leave that spot blank, and then later on come over it with a white blender on top of that, and that way it'll stay on and show mostly. So it's going to go around that section that's supposed to have it, which is right here, and this funny goofy looking shape out. There we go. Now let's go back to the eyes. Now the weirdness in her face, the colors she used for her makeup. Hold on, because I have to switch this up. I have this one, I have multiple of these. These are extenders for your color pencil, but I can't find the other ones. I don't know how in the simplest places that I leave them, they could be so far lost like this, but I'm just going to recycle this one for now. Okay, now let's get in there. And there we go, do the same thing to the other side. That's about there, go across. Alright, so I put that in because it's supposed to be blue, but it's not standing out blue, so let me sharpen the pencil again. This time we got a darker blue, which does kind of stand out a little more, but it'll help it come out. And if that's not good enough, I'm going to switch to aqua, which is closer to the color we're using right now. I'm just going to add strands of the aqua just to help it pop out. Now, because her face, in her makeup, it was a light tone of blue with a little glitter going across it, but I can't match the glitter with this stuff, and I can't match the type of blue it was, so I used a lighter blue, and now I'm going over with the aqua and a darker blue so I can try and make that pop out in the same effect that the glitter would do and the rest of the makeup was doing. And now the easy part, just add that peach into that section. And once again, we're going to go over with our beige, help it stand out little bits. Now, I want to point out this. I'm trying to point at it with this pencil. Right here where the first curve of the eye comes, I'm going to trace over that to make it darker around, because it'll just help the eyes come out a little more. That's right over it, not on top of the makeup. There we go. And doing that just helps the makeup come out. I used the beige for that, but I want it a little darker, so I'm going to come out with that goldenrod again. Now I'm going to use the goldenrod to darken up some of the other lines. Okay, that's the end of part 2. So I'm going to be loading the next one over very soon, and hopefully it'll give you more tips as I finish up the art piece and put in more tones and blend them, and I'll show you a couple of more blending tips that you can do in video 3, which will be uploaded very soon. Don't worry about it. I'm just making sure everything's edited correctly and connected in the right way. I didn't mean for this video to be this long. So I'll see you when I post the next one, which will be very soon. Have a great day.